is in the building.
Like,
Is that why you're nervous?
The Emmy award-winning journalist, Art Franklin, is going to be here. Can you believe we got him to come to the show?
You know what? Art's good people. So yes, I do believe it. I'm honored. I'm honored, and I'm looking forward to it. That's all.
Listen, this guy, man, a lot of folks, if you didn't hear from Birmingham, who've seen him, but he's been all over the world.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to tell his story. But see, here's the thing about Art, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's gonna let me call him out, though. I gotta call Mr. Franklin. I'm not for sure, right? But here's the thing about him. See, I'm loud, I'm proud, you know what I'm saying? But he goes, how you doing? This is Art Franklin. The voice, you know what I'm saying? And then the charisma that he got with it, right? He's the only guy that can tell you some bad news and you feel good about it. I mean, you be watching on TV, Keys, right? I'll be watching on TV, right? And then, he be telling you some bad, and you be like, if you see the women like, he look good. Horrified, he looks so good on TV, right? I was talking with my mom one day. I was coming home. I had just finished having lunch. Tell y'all a quick story before we bring them on.
Yeah.
My mom called me. She was like, "What you got, son?" I said, "Mom, I just finished lunch." "Oh, who you having lunch with?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, "I just finished having lunch with Art Frank." "You did what? You did what? You didn't call me? It's my baby. That's my man." This is it. You don't know Art Franklin. Mom, I do know Art Franklin.
Mom, I do know Art Franklin.
So the next time I was with him,
I
asked him, I said, "Could I call my mom?" Right? She didn't answer the phone.
Oh no.
Yeah. So mom, if you're watching, right?
Yeah.
I do sort of kind of know Art Franklin. But anything else you want to get into before we bring this man up? Because this show is about him today.
I really don't have anything else to.
But how you doing? Staying out of trouble?
Staying out of trouble for the most part.
Okay.
Staying out of trouble. And I told you had some stuff going on with my little doggy.
Right.
So, Lord, pet parents unite.
Right.
It's some positive vibes my way.
Right.
But this too.
All right. All right, so we're gonna say a little prayer for Keisha and her dog. Your whole name, thank you, all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's so messed up.
All right, y'all. Without any further ado, on the Kesia Joe Show, y'all, we are very honored to have the one and only. He's in the building right now. The one and only Mr. I got to stand up with this guy right here. What's up?
I'm telling you.
Wait, hold up.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Represent. Yeah.
I'm sorry, the wrist.
Yeah.
But you gotta see the other thing in that too.
Okay.
The national championship, Michigan Wolverines.
Okay. Alabama, University of Alabama over here.
You know, it was a great game last fall, but wasn't it?
No, we were not it. We were toppled. We have to so graciously say.
The game went in overtime. That was a great game.
It was a great game.
But we won. So that's good.
You see how it's really, but you know, I will say this, Alabama has had its run, but I think it's good for the sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? For other teams to emerge. I mean, come on. I mean, if we go there every year and Alabama's going to win, what does that do for
Well, actually, it's been a while. Georgia's been there before. It's been a while. And I love it here. My daughter went to Alabama. My stepdaughter went to Alabama. It's the second football in our house. The second football.
Right.
Aside from Michigan.
Yeah, we love it.
We still love you though.
It's so good to see you guys.
It's good to see you. Please, let's do this here because people are seeing him. Let's give it down. Let's give some of his escalades. You know, it's not his escalades, but all his accolades.
Emmy award-winning anchor.
Yeah.
Okay. Worked in the markets here in Birmingham. He also worked in Atlanta. And even though he's Emmy award-winning, the count is over 100 awards. All right, I got one award.
Oh, you got
and I thought one award in my
the one that she wants to talk about.
No.
Because
over 100 awards.
you were amazing in your broadcasting career. I used to love to watch you on television. I hated the fact that you.
Look, you weren't supposed to be talking about me right here. There's probably a vet calling me right now on air.
It's always about the lady in the room. You know?
See, also, did I tell y'all? What did I tell y'all?
I ain't gonna lie, that was smooth.
Like when I tell you that it's genuine, we have never anchored a show together.
We have not.
We have never worked together. opportunity to kind of do it today.
That's what we're doing today, right?
Yes.
I'm getting a chance to be on the show with you and Joe.
Yeah.
Kesia
And
Joe.
incredible friend here too now. I have to give it to him as well for being a visionary behind this and just sort of locking arms with me to do this.
And let me ask this question. Do you have a portrait on the wall? You remember Dorian Gray? Where the portrait gets older and older, but the person does not?
No, but they gave me yours. They gave me yours.
Joe really looks the same that he did 20-some years ago. Wow, when we first met. I mean, really.
I got a story to tell. It is. But I got a story to tell about our Frank. Before we get into this interview. I was doing contracting. I was about to get into radio and TV, and I was a nobody. I mean, really, nobody really knew me. I was trying to get my name out there, and this goes to this man here. Seriously, well, a lot of people do not know in America, the people that know me today, right? I had strong people behind me. This guy here, Art Franklin, I did not seek him out. Honestly, I did not.
Wow.
Before the inbox was a thing, he inboxed me and said, "Hey, saw you today. Great job. Give me a call." Gave me his phone. I thought it was a joke. I called him. He said, "I want to take you out to lunch."
Yeah.
And from then on, he kind of helped me kind of part of my career. Said, "What do you want to do? If you want to do this, is what you need to go do." And from time to time, even through his busy schedule, he would make time for me. When I was doing my home improvement stuff, or when I first got my TV show, he made a spot on his show to bring me on just so he could help me out. Now, I never asked you this.
What's that?
What did you see in me, man?
Talent, skill, a brother who was passionate about what he was trying to accomplish, and all of us in Kesia would say this as well. Everyone who has gone anywhere had somebody who identified that they had talent and wanted to put their hand on them and say, whatever I can do to open that door, let me help you. Because trust me, if you look back at my early stuff and some of my late stuff too, you know, if I didn't have someone to help guide me along the way, I would not have made it. And that's what we are here for. God blesses you so you can be a blessing to somebody else.
Yes.
And if God was going to put me in a place that I could use that platform to reach back and get somebody else who's trying to get there too, there's room for both of us. You know, we can coexist.
You know who exemplifies that to a great degree too, on another level. And when I say that, I mean in a different world. And that's Steve Harvey. I see Steve Harvey pull so many different people in, different comedians, and that's tough. And you have always had that kind of spirit about you and me. Broadcast can be competitive.
It can.
It can be dog eat dog. Am I right, gentlemen?
Yes.
It can be very competitive. So even for us to sit here and to say, let's come together, let's put our platforms together, even for you in the past to even welcome me and to be as generous and kind to me as you have been in the past, that was unusual. I've never felt anything cross from him. He's never looked at me any kind of way. He's always embraced me personally and professionally. So the accolades that you receive are well deserved, and I say that sincerely.
Thank you. But this sister has always lived her truth. Lived her truth with the hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and when you see people live their truth, you can't do anything but respect and give honor to what they're doing, because I think that opens the door for other people to do the same. And so many people hold back and afraid to step out there on their own and be who they authentically are as an individual, and that's what you always do. Never compromising, never doing what somebody else said that you should do, but believing this is how Kesia. This is how I am. This is my hair. And I love my hair. I love me. And so you need to accept me that way.
Wow.
And I appreciated seeing that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And speaking of appreciation, were you about to say
No,
something?
but go going further.
Yeah.
I've done it in person, but I want to tell you on air, man, in front of the world, man. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
brother. You do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro.
That's unity, like that. That's unity.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For
You-
being the
Yes.
going before.
Instead of being old,
I don't
No, it's seasoning.
you know, but just to sit next to him, man, you know, because this, you know, you like bigger than life for real. You know, people saw you when you left and came back They had billboards all over the place about you. And then, knowing when I saw the billboard, I'm like, that's my friend.
Yeah.
I got him in my phone. I can call him if I want to.
Yeah.
And I never would bother him, right? I only would ask him, whenever I did call. I mean, when something was going on in Birmingham, he would text me and say, hey, bro, got a hot story going on. Get back to you when I can. Is anything important? That's what, real talk. He didn't have to do that, but he always acknowledged me. Or I don't know he did other people. I know he always acknowledged me, even in his busiest moments. He would let me know these so much.
No one's bigger than anyone else. We're all the same here. So, and the fact that you would reach out is all it is on me to get back to you. And I just wish more people did that because sometimes they act like it's too busy. In this day and this technology, when we can text back and forth, it takes you a few seconds to respond to someone.
Right?
Why can't you do that? So no, but this guy. I know we're trying to going around.
It's okay. It's okay.
This guy.
Don't get this opportunity.
Yeah, this one right here, who's unafraid to get on here and say what he believes, even when it's controversial, even when he's in the minority.
Yeah.
But it's what you believe, and you state your case, and you leave it there. People in this business only do what's important. I can come here and just talk about Alabama's the greatest school in the world, because that's what most people want to hear. But you will say what is your truth as well. And that's what I always appreciate about you. Real dude, real brother, strong brother.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But this show is about you, and I want to get into your book here first. Art frankly gives it all you got. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, it's called "Give It All You Got," a message to my young brothers. What this book is about is actually, I just wanted to make sure you guys had a copy of it because I didn't know if you guys did.
I did.
But this book was written at a very tough time in life. I was here back in the 90s when I was over at WBRC. And I got a call from my brother who told me that my nephew had passed. He had been shot to death in Detroit. He been talking about it now, kind of goes back. He was the first nephew that I took to Michigan games and made sure that he had the experience of on a college campus because I wanted him to follow in the footsteps. And so it started out as a book about healing because if anybody ever lost anyone, whether it's to sickness or to violence, and certainly to violence, it changes your life. Our family was going through a lot. My sister, life, she was just devastated from the loss of her son and my nephew. So I started writing a book about family healing issue and documenting how we were dealing with that because it was something we had never dealt with before. Sent my manuscript out to a friend of mine. She looked at it and she said, "This was, really good stuff." She said, "But it's kind of all over the place. Sometimes people have to reel you back in."
Right.
And she said, "What you have always been about is helping young Black men find their way in life." She said, "So what I think you should do, you should write a book that talks about your life and your nephew's life and how the two come together and the decisions that you make." And so that's where it became, me telling kind of the story of what I've done with young people in this city, but it goes back to all those early days of being in action at Inslee High School, my brother with Jackson Nolan High School, over at Parker High School, junior achievement at Parker High School, West End, Fairfield, me and Ricky Smiley stepping at Woodlawn High School back in the day.
Right.
All the things that I had done in this community, but I did with starting kids' jobs over it. So kind of brought that together and the decisions that young men make, they need to make in order for their lives to be successful. That's what that book is about. Give it up.
Can I let some people speak to us this morning? We got Marvin who's speaking to you. He joins us from Florida. He says, "I remember you from Channel 6 News, Red Mountain back in the day. The school brother. Good to see you."
I'll see this person in your book today.
Yes. Please give it all we got. This book that he has, y'all want to show it to you. As I give this his hellos from our viewers this morning. Omar Wesley, Kesia Joe, and Art Franklin. Good morning. And Mark had another comment. He says, "You're always straight to the point broadcaster, very vocal in your craft." Rachel tuning in saying good morning to all. Okay, and Geraldine also speaking in this morning, but I just wanted to give everyone an opportunity to speak to you this
Good
morning,
morning to you all.
to go out and.
That voice.
This book. That voice, right?
That voice.
Like.
Go ahead and talk to him.
Yeah.
Come on, Joe. Come on. Okay.
What in this iteration, so we know art as the award-winning broadcaster, we know art as the author and the mentor to countless young men. And interesting, you just sharing that story, I never knew that. It then. Can you talk about today when you see some of the things as you move back to Birmingham? What, if it was for such a time as then, it's also for such a time as now.
It is. In fact, unfortunately, we're still seeing some of the same things we saw before, but even worse because social media wasn't around back then.
Yeah.
And the bullying and all the things that take place on social media now has led to so many more unfortunate deaths and things of that nature. When I left Birmingham back in 2002, 2001, that was not the case. Went back here. I love what the city has done. Let me talk about that first part and how the city has really developed. When I left Birmingham, there were tumbleweeds downtown.
Right.
It was a store that were not restaurants other than John's was there. There weren't a whole lot of restaurants. People were not living downtown. Now you go downtown, there's a vibrant place for Protective and uptown and what's happening throughout that whole area and Pepper Place and things of that nature. Of course, you got Railroad Park, you got Regents Field and Protective Stadium, and so all these things that have taken place as I've come back. But what seems to be the same problem that we had back then is young Black men getting into disagreements and then settling those disagreements with violence. And we've got to find a way to really teach our young men, especially, I say young men, and they're not the only ones, but certainly our young men, how to resolve conflict. And that starts at home, obviously, the foundation that we put in at home. And then again at school, where they're having more opportunities to be in contact with adults, and at church. So much of what I learned as a young man was in church. In Joe, Nathan, and Williams,
Who would snatch you up?
he's my Sunday school teacher.
Okay.
Fortunately, he had to snatch me up
Oh,
because
good,
my mother
good.
would not allow me to go there and do anything that's required.
Yeah.
She would snatch me up
Okay, good.
home before I got there. And so, yes, it really does start at home. Everything that I have ever obtained, all that I became in terms of academically and from an educational standpoint, and even what I became in terms of how I developed as a young man, really came from Annie Franklin. She's 98 years old, and I'll be seeing her this weekend. But it really came from mom, and she has been, my strength and everything that guided me. God first, family, get your education, and treat people right. You do that, God's gonna take care of it. That's why she said I was able to come back to Birmingham. So when I came back to Birmingham, she says, obviously you did something right because they're not gonna let you come back. They don't want you back unless you left right.
Right.
So even the computers, when you get the you said that's why people are walking by house.
So, I still don't understand that whole technology when it comes to, I'm talking on the phone when it comes to.
Now, I don't know. Let me ask you this. I never knew this. Why did you leave Birmingham?
It was time. It was really time. I had spent 12 years here, and I came to Birmingham, and it's a true story. I told you before. I didn't want to come down with that. I was at Northern, who thought the South was so caught up in, and too bad that we get caught up in what we hear from other people and what we read. I thought there was like 60s still existed here, the same troubles that Birmingham faced when it was the most segregated city in the world. And this is how it existed, at little small outhouses and
Wow.
That's what you, even today, when I talk to people and they say, I say Birmingham, then I have to battle that as an ambassador today for this city. Say, you don't know Birmingham, you have not been there. But I didn't want to come. My agent called and said, there was a reporter job in Tampa. You know how this goes. A reporter job in Tampa, a reporter job in Atlanta, and this bigger job in Birmingham. I was in Norfolk, Virginia at the time. And I was military affairs correspondent, most of the bottom line, and news director, radio station at Wowie, Bishop Willis home, radio station back then. So I was kind of Mr. Broadcast in that city, doing a lot. I said, let's go for the reporter job. He says, but no, there's a anchor job in Birmingham. Dude, I do not want to go to Birmingham, Alabama, and be marked for the rest of my career. How wrong was I? So, a friend of mine, Venice,ville, South Carolina, Fennell, we had roomed together, and I was his campaign manager when he ran for NABJ president.
What was it?
Arthur Fennell. Yeah. Me and Arthur worked together, and he would pitch to me, hey, Arthur, what's happening? I said, hey, Arthur, here's what's happening. So it was kind of weird when we started pitching to one another. He told me, he said, you take your behind, and he didn't use the word behind. He said, you take your butt down to Birmingham, you get that job, and then you decide where you go. I got off the plane at the airport before they approached the way it is now, and I was like, oh man, I can't do this. The news director at the time, Steve Minium, God rest his soul, Steve said to me, he said, all right, keep coming, it gets better. He said, I just moved here from Las Vegas, it gets better. And he was absolutely right. I came, thought it was going to be a 1-year deal, maybe 2. It ended up being 12. So, and then I'm back. Yeah.
When I came here from Montgomery, my hometown, I thought that I would leave because I was only on a 2-year deal. It's like 2 years, I'm gone. I'm going to Atlanta, I'm going to New York.
Yeah.
I got here and I love the community and the people were so welcoming. I just felt like, oh, I never wanted to go there.
I mean, we can leave now. I mean, I'm at that point now. I'm retired and finished the question why I left. I came back, did something, and the only reason I came back was because I would do something. There were other opportunities, but I didn't want to go do the exact same thing in the evening that I was coming to do morning newscast that was branded with my name that I didn't see at any other local television station across the country. Yes, we see it on network news, evening news, you got Lester Holt, you got CBS Evening News with North. So you got all of those network newscasts branded with the name. Local television didn't do that. So for CBS 42 to brand this show, CBS 42 Morning News gave me a reason to come back because I could build on something, and was able to build on it. That's what made me come back. And it also was time to leave when the contract came up again, and I was looking down the road and all of this technology was happening. And this is the best time for me to get out and do what I want to do and not be dependent on anyone else. And that's when I got out and started building a company that I had started. So it's about time.
So talk about where you just mentioned this before. By the way, if you don't want to be selfish here, if you all have any questions, someone's asking about Steve Crawford. He said, did Steve Crawford take your place at Joey?
Steve did.
Oh,
I was very fortunate that I was involved in the search for my replacement. Steve's tape came in, but I actually asked throughout NABJ. That's the good thing about the National Association of Black Journalists, that you have a resource tool. And I said, look, we're looking for somebody who looks like me and send these tapes in. And Steve was one of the tapes that we got in. In fact, they lost Steve's tape after they looked at it the first time. Had me resubmit Steve's tape. So Steve's a very good friend. I'm glad to be a part of this process.
Wow. That's history.
That's history.
And again, still looking out for people.
Still looking at people. And obviously your replacement wasn't that.
He's still there.
I know, and
He's
he's
still there.
way up there.
Yeah, he way up there.
Whenever you stand next to him, you gotta look up like this.
I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple times. He's a really good, great person.
Yeah,
Really great person.
amazing. Yeah, good guy.
Marvin said, if you all have any questions for Art, please ask your questions. Meaningful values to keep, as Marvin was listening to you. He had a comment right here, Art, and just to add to what Art is saying about Birmingham back in the day, now we know without a shadow of a doubt that Dr. King had some hard clay to mold back in the 60s. And I'm kind of glad Marvin brought that up because the toughest thing you see right now is so in this iteration of my life right now, I go and I cover city council and other news pertaining to Birmingham. So I'm a reporter for the Birmingham Times. Sitting in council meeting.
I'm glad that she's right for the time. I love Black newspaper.
Yeah. And that 60-year legendary paper, Vision of Dr. Jesse Lewis.
Senior.
I mean, yes, Jesse Lewis.
Still
Senior.
here, not
That's still
He
here.
took me under his wing.
He's like
101.
Oh,
to be about.
101. And
Yeah.
married, by the way, and still getting and still working. But to sit in the audience yesterday and to have your Mayor Woodford talk about our kids who are out there, who are now in exhibition driving, okay, and who are how can I say it, wanting to be seen, and think about the crime that's happening here in Birmingham. It pains my heart knowing the sacrifice that some of the folks made back in the 60s. Ancestors have undergone to be in the city of Birmingham.
I understand what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. I also want to point out that the vast majority of our young people,
That's true.
and so often we paint these generations about you're the worst generation, you're doing so bad. They thought the same thing about us in our generation. So every generation gets this label.
Yeah.
The difference with this one is there's just so much violence when they do come to conflict. I mean, we fought in high school and junior high school, fist fights, maybe a night or two in Detroit.
Maybe. Probably.
Maybe a night. If you lose the game, you don't want to get on the bus going back. That bus probably gonna get turned over.
Yeah.
But at a basketball game or a football game, you listen to them, you look at how they're succeeding in the classroom and then what they're doing outside the classroom, so many other extracurricular things in their communities and giving back to their time. But then you have these ones that make it back. And because of television stations that want to escalate it and concentrate and focus on the bad, we walk on thinking that's all we have in our communities. And it's just not true. It's just the ones that we see the worst, more focus on them than we see the focus on the positive. That's why. An editorial and some of the other news outlets, you pitch your story, and at the end of the day, you can't determine whether or not that's the story that you're going to do. Someone else makes a decision, and usually that person does not look like you, nor have your background, nor have your context or perspective as to why that story should be important to us. And while it may be important to us, it may not be important to them, so the story doesn't get on the air.
Yes.
And so that's why you fight. And, I was kind of when in the newsroom there was an agitator, so to speak.
Right.
You too.
Agitate.
I had to find, I don't know what you do, Oliver Brewer, radio personality, I believe Oliver died in his home or something like that. But it was a tragic ending, and I remember standing up when I worked at the television station here and saying, God, you have somewhat of a voice. And I said, guys, we can't just throw this in the second block of the news. This is a huge figure in Birmingham entertainment. You can't just push it out of the way and just say, oh, another news of the day. No, this is a major figure. This is lead-worthy material. So I had to fight. And I'm glad I did.
But that's why voices like Joe Locke's
Yes.
so important.
Yes.
Because Joe, you have your own
Thank you.
radio station.
Mr. Phil Coffee.
Yeah. Just remind you guys this is where we are.
Right.
Filter Coffee Bar.
Let's talk about, you know, we got the butterscotch right here with the butterscotch with the almond milk. That's what come on
Absolutely.
Keep your-
So that's why I think it's so important for Joe to have your voice. Because you got there, you talk about whatever you wanted to talk about.
That's what you always made me aware of.
Yep.
Wow.
You did.
Because you had the power and the autonomy to speak truth to power the way you saw it. Yeah.
And even when I got in trouble sometimes.
And so in this iteration, so that's interesting that you say, because part of what I thought about at this age is I've been blessed to be able to have a more flexible schedule, but Joe and Miss Joe and I want to be able to use my voice. I don't want my voice to go by the wayside.
Don't mute it, no.
You know what I
mute your
mean?
voice.
Happy Art really started this program with guys. We're going to talk relationships. Kind of what I'm seeing as it morphs, it's really more good news and more relevant to the 50 and that.
And social action too. You know, think about it. Yeah, social action, because you can, like right now, we know the importance of voting. We talk about voter registration all the time, voter education, but the most important thing that we need to be talking about doing is motivation, because we've got people registered to vote. The problem we have is getting people out.
What art was to the women, that's what Sherry Jackson was for the men. Like, hey, Sherry, no disrespect to your husband, but
How you
hey.
doing, Sherry?
No, no,
Sherry's a hottie.
yeah,
She's cute.
and she's good.
Yeah, she's excellent.
Yes.
Oh, she's excellent.
Yes.
Very, and let me just say, I put my 10 years in the business. I just stayed in the business for that long.
At the same place.
At the same place.
Yeah.
That is a
Do you think we
testament.
can get her to come on our show?
Well, Sherry would love to come on and talk. Sherry is amazing. She's a great conversationalist. She's got so much to add. So yeah, I don't give you a problem.
Thank you.
I'll make a
Fulfilling
call.
your
Thank
crush?
you.
Yeah.
Fulfilling your newscaster crush? I think so.
Jose will come down here and turn this place
And
out.
turn it out.
No, he gonna get the utmost respect from me. I would just tell him, sir, I did have a crush. Did. With a capital
We'll
D.
go back that real quick.
It's okay. You can say every question.
Right.
But
And I'm sorry, we were talking about your wife.
Michelle,
Yeah.
she came on with one L, Michele.
Yeah.
She came on the last, Sherry did like the Facebook lives, and every night at the end of my last week there, we got on there and various people joined to say goodbye, blah, blah, blah. And that last night, my wife got on. But who I met here in Birmingham.
Really?
We met here in Birmingham in 1999.
1999.
Yes,
Okay.
1999.
Listen up, ladies. That's
Yeah.
a long time ago, but you married in
2014. This is our 10-year anniversary next month.
wow.
Yes,
Wow.
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. But no, so we met here in the most unlikely places both of us to be here. Another friend from another television station in Norfolk reached out, told her cousin that I was here and that she needed to meet someone here that we kind of show her the ropes, and that led to showing her the ropes.
Did y'all hear that?
But also I was smart enough to know that she was an important enough woman who needed to have someone in her life who was ready to be totally committed to her at the time. And I was still in that place that I wasn't ready to be committed. And we pulled back. I said, because I'm not where you are. But we stayed in contact for all of the years. I left, moved to New York, moved to Miami, moved to Atlanta. She left, went to New Jersey, back to her home state, then to California where she grew up, worked in California, back to New Jersey. And then I texted her on her birthday one day and she said, hey, I'm in Atlanta. I said, okay, if you're in Atlanta, then I may as well take you out. Take you out to lunch, out to dinner. Took her out to dinner, we connected, took her back to her hotel, and went back to my condo in Buckhead. Life went on. She was back in Atlanta again. We connected once again. And then she pulled the ultimate. I guess I should be saying this. She pulled the ultimate.
Okay, I'm listening now.
She pulled the
Okay.
She called me up one weekend and said, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And I said, I'm good, not knowing much. She says, all right. She says, let me fly you up to Philly. And then we're going to go down to, I got tickets to the Capitol Jazz Fest. And we're going to go spend the weekend at the Capitol Jazz Fest. So, it's all right.
You let her
I hadn't had that before, so
Yeah.
Right.
I had that for me before. So fly me on up.
Yeah, sure.
So she flew me up to Philly. We went to Capitol Jazz Fest, came back through and had brunch on the river, and then she threw a party back at the house at her place, a pool party, and family came, and we all reconnected, and life just took off because God was in the woman. God was working. So often we forget about trying to do our thing. We don't realize that God is working in the background all the time and pulling things together, and He put together the most amazing relationship, the most amazing marriage, and I couldn't be happier. She couldn't be happier. We're going into eternity together. Forever, for always, for love.
That's beautiful to hear.
So what was it? So was it you met her? So Joe, I will give you your credit on this. You always say to focus on being, we're 50 and fabulous, and I hear so much talk.
65.
Okay, wow.
We never thought you were 65.
We never thought you were 65. My God, for the wisdom, but you look great. And as they say, black doesn't crack, but we'll keep on moving on that.
But it will turn gray.
But it will. Listen, brother, I'm finally decided to let
I'm
mine
getting
come
there. I
over
see
here.
something coming these days.
But yes, okay, so you always say women, sometimes we want to rush relationships, sometimes we want to get into things so fast. You met her in
1999.
You married her in
2014.
That's 15 years.
Yeah.
So what was the time, or when did you know it was time to elevate, move forward?
After that, let me fly you up to Philly.
Michelle, holler at
Yeah.
Michelle.
This was a phenomenal woman. She was not your typical average, everyday young lady. She was the real deal. That understood that God came first and family was next. So our core values really aligned very well, and that we could take care of one another. And our job was to look out for one another and our families. We do.
But it turned with that incident.
It really did.
What about that incident? Was it her? Because someone would say, and I'm gonna get on your sister. Someone would say, "Oh, I'm not gonna be doing all that." Blah, blah, blah. What changed in your mind when she did that?
Well, she had her own. She had her own strength. She could take care of her own world. She didn't need me to take care of her. That we would complement one another and not have to take care of her.
Yes.
That I brought something to the table and she brought something to the table, and it was good. God said, "This is good.
Wow.
You are good for one another." And That's what it is.
I don't even hear any shadow of turning in his voice as it
No.
relates to Michelle. I
No,
don't hear any doubt as it relates to her.
no.
So
We don't have that. We don't. We have the type of relationship. We are very secure in who we are and what we bring to the table and what we bring to one another and bring to our families and what we the life we have to live that because of what God will want us to live. That there's no reason to be concerned about anything else. I mean, my wife is on trips constantly. She's a senior vice president for a pharmaceutical company. So therefore she's doing her job.
Yeah.
I don't worry about where she's at and what she's doing because I know she's taking care of business and she takes care of home. So she takes care of.
This is what I be talking about a lot, when I be on the show. Like, when you got a woman, you don't have to keep tabs on. You got a man, you got to keep tabs on, right?
Yes.
But you have to be free. You got to become friends first. Right? One thing I've learned in being divorced twice is that you got to take that time to make sure y'all are right for each other. I think so many people get into relationships now that they want to rush. They want to see something right away. They put it on the time frame, right? 6 months ago, I don't have time for this. And I always tell people what you don't have time for is being divorced. You have time for a breakup, right? Because you didn't really get to know the person.
Yeah.
You stop the process of getting to know the person so you can go and get with the person.
Yeah.
And when you find out who the person is, you find out you don't like that person.
Yes. Yes.
To me, that's the whole problem,
Yes.
right? Women get mad as hell at me, but I don't care. But
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
being very honest, right?
Yeah.
Y'all really need to take your time. You're over 50. Stop trying to put this man on the time clock.
Yeah.
It may take 1 year, it may take 2 years, to get your relationship where it's going. But at the same time, to find a man like Art Franklin, right?
Yeah.
That's really like, and one common thing I'm listening to you say, man, God, family, right? Core values,
Yeah.
right? Things that y'all align with.
Yeah.
Most of these women listen to the show, man, they don't even know what you're aligned with. You can wait for this guy to make sure he got everything, and you don't have your stuff together. I'm just gonna keep it real. A lot of y'all ain't got y'all stuff together. You want this man to come in, and when his stuff get ragged, you get gone. That's a problem.
And that's a good thing you just said that because everything's not going to always be equal.
Yeah.
You're going to find times where maybe you have to fall back on him more than you have to fall back on her. And then it may shift and then she's leading. And, but the point is you always have to take care of one another. And I got your back. I know that if I were to fall on my face and didn't have a penny in my pocket or anything,
You got
that we're good.
Well, and then
The same thing. She knows that.
She
If
knows
she
that about
doesn't lose it, if she lost everything, she's good because we're gonna be all right. God's got that.
But you knew her since 1999.
I did.
This is not a person that you woke up and that you even had to process within 360 days. You watched her consistently over the years. You watched her grow as a person, professionally.
And I watched her as a great mother.
Yes.
More, because family is so important to us. We came, and I hear people don't want to get into relationships because of this age, especially because somebody else already has a child. Or something.
Yeah.
She had 3 children,
Yeah.
12, 14, and 17.
Yeah.
I had a son who was 17. Our sons were close.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, her son is going to be in my son's wedding, this weekend.
Yeah.
So our families are aligned. Our families are close. And when I can see how great of a mother she was, and even how great a mother she was to my son. My son was graduating. She's like, look, get to the graduation. I got everything in the house taken care of. She laid that house out. Like I thought a caterer had come to the house with what she had done. So you can tell that someone has just got it here, that God is in their spirit, and that they are able to show that love to others that they come in contact with, starting with their family. I'd be a fool not to want to be with her for the rest of my life.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Michelle, okay, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to introduce, I have to meet Michelle.
You do, because Michelle does something called Joyful Journey, because she loves to empower women. So I'm saying spiritually.
That's my language.
Yeah, we'll make sure. Matter of fact, you've got to come to the house.
Please, I would love to just meet her and just talk to her, because that's my heart.
Okay.
To empower.
Absolutely.
And
Joyful Journey.
Joyful Journey.
Yeah, we'll get you there.
looking forward to meeting you. I'm gonna have to tell you, we got some fans on here.
Okay.
All right, Omar mentioned some things. Hold on. Audio is bad on Facebook. Okay, Hey, y'all, give me a heads up, a thumbs up if you can hear me. I want to make sure you can hear me. Maybe a little noisy back here. Reggie Parker, you remember Reggie Parker?
Yeah. I remember Reggie.
He just said, Joe, whatever that means. So he's
What up,
watching
fam?
us.
What up? What's up?
A lot of people are saying that the audio is garbled on Facebook, freezing a little bit on TikTok. Y'all let me know. He says he's watching on YouTube. Better now, Miss Rachel. Okay, good morning, Miss Rachel's on there. Patricia Jackson Smith says good morning to us
Good morning,
there.
Patricia. How are you?
Yes, okay, I'm watching y'all on YouTube. Okay, everybody, let me know, and us we'll continue with the interview, but let me know. I'll be watching right here if the audio is good or not. I want to make sure you can hear, because Art has really dropped some gems.
A lot of gems.
Let us know. I know that you said you had a special line of questioning for Mr. Franklin here as our special guest this morning.
I do have some. Before you go, I got some things.
It's on you.
But I want to ask
That's what I
a
feel like,
questions
Strap in.
about for Black young men. Number one, questions I'm going to ask this right for you guys. I want to ask some more questions about for Black young men. Number one, how to find a good, what should they look for in a good woman? And then the other question I want to ask you is, going into the newscast game now, what advice would you give to men and women going into the newscast game?
Not to get into the newscast.
But you got
Don't do it.
No, I mean, no, we still need people in that space. So I'm not gonna say don't do it, but I think it's important though for you to understand that it's not the same that it was for me when I started in 1981. 81.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a different world out there.
Yeah.
But I think be ready, and by being ready, it means that there's so many things you can find out. You can find on YouTube and other places that you can see what's being done and how it's done. And if this is what you want to do, put everything in place to be ready. You got to write well. You got to speak well. You got to be afraid, not be afraid to be told no, because as you guys know, most of the people think that people jump into front of a camera all the time or want to be in front of a microphone.
Right.
Most people say no.
Absolutely.
And you got to understand that there's a way to ask for an interview and to get that interview, or to be, assertive about going after it after you've been told no a few times. But really, the key is preparation. Articulate, read, write, know the King's English. Just go ahead and do everything you can. Just prepare.
Also, what would you tell young men, right, to have a successful marriage? What are some of the core values that we need?
Well, I'll always start with the ones I named, but then also I'll pivot to the point that you got to find out what works for you, because everybody's situation is different. What may work for Michelle and I may not work for Joe and his spouse, or Kesia and her spouse. But you got to find that space by being in contact with one another, communicating honestly, truthfully, talk to one another. And I think so many people send representatives all the time. I've got to be this type of person because this is what she's looking for, or she does the same thing. This is what he's looking for. No, be who you are, and you're authentically who you are. And as you come together, find how the two mesh. Because seriously, God is number one in our lives, family's number two, and then everything after that is what are we going to leave behind? Because I know that this is the fourth quarter for me. I mean, this is it's truthful, and you got to be okay with that. I know, and I tell this to my son. Most of my years behind me. Not a whole lot ahead yet. Am I going to live like my mom to be 98 and beyond? Don't know that. We don't know. Today could be the last day, but you got to put everything that you have into the time that you have, enjoying the journey along the way, and don't get caught up in all the unnecessary things. I know they say don't sweat the small stuff. It just seems so cliche-ish.
Right.
But from a real standpoint, that is true. People get caught up in the wrong things and upset about the wrong things and mad about the wrong things and take that anger to bed and everywhere else. Get over it. Keep living. Apologize and move on.
That's so wild. We have Nicole here who actually said, "Is Art married?" He is. Nicole. He is married. Now, Art is dating a broadcaster friend of ours. And I mentioned his name, you would know him. So she was just asking. Yes, he is married. Married, Nicole. ATL. Here's Gerald. He said ATL is so much more often in Birmingham. what made you decide to come back to Birmingham? I know you touched on that a little bit earlier today.
And ATL wasn't the only place I lived. I lived in New York, Washington, Miami, Los Angeles. ATL is ATL. Birmingham has much more quality of life when you think about what you do on an individual basis. And it's become a foodie town.
Yeah.
What Birmingham lacks for me are professional sports. You know, I grew up in a professional sports town, even though my Lions were horrible for like 30 years and they finally became relevant the last couple of years. And we should have won the Super
The
Bowl.
Lions?
The Detroit Lions. My Detroit.
I was a Los Angeles Raiders, and that's how old I go back. Our Marcus Allen back in that. Marcus Allen, if I could marry that man, oh my God.
Speaking of football in Los Angeles, Reggie Bush is getting his Heisman Trophy back.
He is he?
It's announced today. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow, okay.
so yeah, that's a pretty big deal. But it's opened up another conversation because I want the Fab Five to get their banners back in Chrysler Center at University of Michigan because they took those down. Right?
Yeah.
They changed college basketball, but that's another story.
We definitely want to have you back. But
Another show.
before you get up out of it, these are some of the questions I want to ask. What's your favorite food?
Thai food is
Oh,
among tops because I like spicy food. Thai, Caribbean, Italian, in that
Yeah,
order.
Thai.
Then we come down to Southern soul, however they want to people want to label it. But I like to eat. I try to eat healthy. My problem is sweets.
oh God. You know, I'm dealing with that right
I
now.
probably have some hot tamales or some bunch of crunches.
What is it? So really, so I was telling Joe that y'all, I love this conversation, this mashup, because you know what, 50 is fabulous, and you know what, there's more to our life than just dating, okay, and talking about being in the sack with somebody. Let's just be real all the time. I'm dealing with that right now. Like my issue has been sweets, and when I tell you I'm trying to break it, I think it's held weight on me. And when I tell you that I'm going through a daily deal where now I'm trying to cleanse, he said something when we were on air, when we were meeting about the show. He said, why don't you just try to juice for 30 days? And if anybody wants to lose weight, you can do that. So you know what? I said,
Why don't we make this funny sound when they say something I see? Really?
You know what? Because I didn't want to hear that. But that was a wisdom from God. And that's really what I have been doing. So I'm trying to break that right now.
That's because Joe is so healthy and so
He
in
doesn't
shape.
have an ounce of fat
You know,
on his
what's
body.
about 6% body fat?
He doesn't.
Yeah,
He
he
doesn't
does not
have
know.
any
He's
fat.
just being humble, right?
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
But I like spicy food.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
that's
sweet.
what-
You like
and-
sweets.
And sweets. And
What's
as
your
you know,
favorite sweet dessert?
the one I won, Real Men Cook in Atlanta, my banana pudding that's won several awards. Yeah. And I do a few things with that. I was gonna give away one.
No.
I won't give it away.
Yeah,
But I won Real Men Cook in Atlanta on that. I also won Coalition of 100 Black Women Gourmet Gents. I won it for that as well.
So
I
you
won a
cook
couple.
too?
I cook very well.
Oh, Michelle.
I'm not ashamed to say it.
Michelle?
I'm going home. I'm going home.
Ask Michelle, but she's the one that says you're the chef in the house.
Okay,
And I think that's her way of
right.
just trying to get me to cook more.
What's your favorite sound?
My favorite sound in terms of music,
Favorite sound, period. Favorite sound.
favorite sound. My favorite sound is, it's gonna sound probably the sound of my mother's voice, which is the first sound of love that I remember when I think about as a young man, as a kid, having chicken pox and was just itching all over. My mother took all my clothes off me all night long, just rubbed my body, put baby oil powder, and just rubbed me all night and talked to me, sung to me, and just made sure her child was okay. And she probably didn't get very much sleep at all, but she did everything. So that voice is always going to be in my head. Yeah, so the sound of my mother's voice is my
Favorite movie.
favorite movie. It's not going to be a tough one. This is because I'm a sentimental guy. Imitation of Life.
No one's up there.
I know. That's why I said it's not going to be like, something like I hear a lot of other Top Gun and all. No, it's Imitation of Life because it really dealt with some real life issues when you think about, and this is the 1959 version, I think it was, with Lord Turner, where when you start dealing with the pain this is, and I guess for me, mothers do it for me.
Gotcha.
My mom is mine.
You're right.
Yeah, she is. And what her mom was going through, and she's trying to just love her biracial child, and that biracial child was pushing her away, and then that scene where she comes to the funeral, and then that hearse is driving down, and she shows back up. Yeah, that's the one. So yeah.
I honestly have heard so much about it. I honestly have not been able
You
to
need
really
to
watch it.
need to spend an evening, a Sunday evening, watching The Imitation of Life. Very good. And there are two versions of it too.
Vicky
There's
Gary
an older
says,
version.
this session with Art Franklin has been awesome. This from Vicky Gary. Hey, Vicky, sweetheart.
Hey Vicky, how you doing?
Erica Monkler says, I love that movie.
Yes.
Rico McIntyre, Marvin is still on here. Marvin, we sure appreciate you, my friend. We appreciate you for hanging in with us.
Thank you.
Rico McIntyre, the great Art Franklin. Listen to him. But
Rico,
he is
He's
the
great Art
great Art Franklin.
He is.
He
One
is
last
the-
question for you, my friend.
Go ahead.
Could you say-
If you could have done anything else in your life besides being a journalist, what would it be?
Great question.
Oh, that's an easy one because I just didn't do it because of physics. I was a pre-med major.
Really?
Yes, I was a pre-med.
Wow.
Even in high school, I was in a career called biomedical careers. There were 33 of us at my school, the Southeastern High School in Detroit. We were separated from the other kids, and we had our own classes that we went to because we were like pre-med. Got to Michigan as a pre-med student, biology major, but physics just kicked my behind.
Understood.
Yeah, I never failed it. I would withdraw from it before I get a fourth-rated F. Smart enough to know that would kill your GPA.
Yeah.
But it also taught me that maybe this is not where you want to go. And someone asked me, they said, have you thought about using your natural gift? God gave you this voice, and you should do something with that. And that kind of changed the trajectory of my life. Yeah, but it would have been an OBGYN. That was what I was supposed to be getting.
I had no idea. I had no idea. So, my man, I want to say congratulations to you. I heard you get your son's getting married this weekend.
My son's getting married on Friday, and to a beautiful young lady who has really been great for him. He's had plenty of suitors before, but this one she is amazing. So we're looking forward to it. So my wife and my daughter, we're leaving tomorrow morning, heading up to Michigan, getting married, and then we'll be back. And while we're there, we'll get a chance to go to probably the last day of the NFL draft, which is in my hometown, starting tomorrow.
I hear the sports. You are a sports fan.
Oh, trust me. I love how you guys do.
Fans pass on.
That's our
I love the space that you have here.
What do you think about the space
I
here?
do. This one on the corner here, I wanted that building at one time to do this very similar thing. So we're gonna be talking some more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it seems like you're going to be in this space as well.
I already have an app that's approved that has streaming on it and everything on both Google and Apple. Just haven't launched it yet. I'm holding it to my close to the vest for now.
Sure, of
I've
course.
got some other things going on, and there's still some other big announcements coming. Yeah.
Hey, bro.
I didn't stick around just to stroll around.
Right.
I'm sticking around to make a difference here. Yeah.
It's something about Birmingham, I have to say.
It is. And you talked about being like home. This really does feel like my second home. It's the place has really embraced me, and I want to give love back to this city because this city has given me so much love. So it's great being here.
I could not have said that better. I'm a Montgomery native.
Yeah.
Okay. I say this is my home, even though I'm from Montgomery.
Yeah.
But I just, based on everything that I have done in the business when I left, I felt so much love. I was compelled to stay here, and I wanted, and I still just have that. I want to do as much as I can to be a blessing to this community.
Oh, the majority of my adult life has been in this city.
Yeah.
When I think about the 12 years previous, and then coming back here in 2016 to now, 8 years later.
Yeah.
So that's 20 years of my life has been spent in this city.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we got the great Art Franklin. We don't want to keep him. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
But
I can get a haircut. That's what
we
I
want
get.
to thank you so much for coming on to the show. And if people want to stay locked in with you, where do they find you at?
All over the internet, but artfranklin.com has been. I need to update it, and I'll tell you that if you go there, you'll find a web page that has not been touched in 10 years. It seems like, but no, the same information is there. My email address is there. Even my number's all over the internet. But you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, X, wherever social media people are, I'm there as well. So you can find me on all those platforms. The Art Franklin on Twitter, ARTQUE on Instagram.
Wait a minute. Repping the Omegas today,
And
okay?
Art Franklin on Facebook. Yeah. So I'm
Again,
a-
man, appreciate you so much.
So good to see you, man.
Always, man. That's my
I
pleasure.
still, if I can just look halfway like this, I'll be
I
good.
tell you what,
Sharper than me.
but here's the thing. I would give some of this for the voice. Okay?
I would give this voice for this. Can we trade?
Hey, we can barter. We can barter a little bit.
Yeah.
We can barter a little bit. Hey, y'all, in comfort, the one and only, Art Franklin, thank you so much, man.
We thank you so much.
Well,
This
thank
has
you.
been awesome. It is an honor to sit next to you after having witnessed you for so long.
Oh,
I
man.
came here and you were here.
And she's still smiling. It's such a sweetheart. That face is all. She's been like that forever.
Oh,
I've sat next to him, but I've never sat next to him in this capacity.
me either.
So I got a chance to sit next to him on TV, y'all.
And thank you guys. All of you
Yes.
who tuned in just because of these two, but those of you who may have just said, let me check out what art is all about. And we want to just thank you for that. So thank you for joining us. And I hope everyone has a wonderful Wednesday.
Yes.
There it is.